Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another figure unboxing video. And ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited for today's video. Not only do we have brand new lighting that shouldn't look absolutely stinky, so when I film in the nighttime, it should look pretty good. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, by the way. And we also have a figure that I've been looking forward to for a fat minute. I did order this guy a long time ago, and he actually released a fat minute ago, but unfortunately, because of everything going on in the world, I did not get him until now because there was delayed shipping out of Japan from the place I got him, which was Tokyo Taco Mode. But he just arrived the other day, and I could literally not wait to do a video on this guy because, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Alright, so let's turn this off real quick. Probably we could do it with the current lighting in here, but I think that the ring light kind of accentuates it a little bit. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, of course. Oh my gosh. This, if you are unfamiliar, is the GXMATERIA the Frieza. As you can see, your actual size, color, and style may vary. If you're unfamiliar with this line, essentially this line is a Dragon Ball figure line where the figures all have different effect parts. It is a really cool line. I have reviewed a couple of figures from it already, and funny enough, I actually have two to still review, the Gotenks and the Gohan, which I have both of them. I just haven't gotten around to cracking into them yet. But as soon as I got this guy, I had to open him up because I have been looking forward to this guy for so long. Not only is he technically my very first non-Dragon Ball Super Frieza statue, but this whole line is sculpted by one of my favorite Dragon Ball figure sculptors of all time, the boy Varroque, I believe is how you pronounce it. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He's so good, bro. He sculpted some of my favorite figures of all time. And he also follows me back on Twitter, which is neat too. So hopefully if he does end up watching this video, because I'll probably tag him. Hello, Varroque. I love your work. Thank you so much for the follow back. I appreciate it. Let's take a look at Frieza, though. We are going to slap the light back on there just so we can get a little bit of a brighter look. Yeah, I think that definitely looks better with the light on him, though. You can let me know in the comment section below for sure. Because I am going to do it for this video, and then if y'all think that it looks better without the ring light, because right now the shenanigan that I'm using is I'm just using the ring light backwards, so the glare isn't as heavy as my usual videos. So this is pretty interesting. This piece still has two connected pieces to it, which is interesting. I was thinking that it was going to come completely dismantled, but I guess not. I'm kind of surprised that they were able to fit it in the box, but this looks incredible. Really like it. Typically, I don't like sparkles on a figure or any figure piece, but I think for this, it looks great because from far away, I think it just sort of adds to the little shimmer meme of it all, if you will. Let me put this like this, I guess. I don't know how to put it without like kind of goofing it up. All right, time for the tail, boys. Let's go ahead and get that out of there. Is there a hole? I don't see one. Well, I guess we're just going to make one. Oh, rip that bad boy open. Let's get the tail out. Ooh, the material is really nice. So yeah, ever since this guy originally was announced, I was so excited to get him. This was one of those figures that I was really hoping that Bandai wouldn't ruin. And even though the original production image is a little bit different, I think that the final figure turned out absolutely fantastic, which is really great because A, the GXMATERIA line is one of my favorite lines that Dragon Ball has done in the past, like, ever, because it's just such a neat idea, especially considering there's so many different, like, attacks and stuff in Dragon Ball. There's so much you could do with a line where it's focused around the effects, you know, of the characters and like what different beam moves and stuff they use. Sculpted by one of my favorite sculptors of all time, IMO, one of my favorite, or rather one of the best Dragon Ball sculptors, is also just a win-win. So this stand literally just kind of pops together like this. Looks good. A little bit crooked there. But let's pop Frieza's tail on and take a look at him close up before we actually plug him into the stand. Very nice connection there. And it's cool too because with this line, right, it's like you kind of can't really tell, I guess, like sort of, but it looks a lot more natural, right, than some other figure lines. But let's take a look at his face. If I do say so myself, this looks really good. It looks really good. This looks exactly like Final Form Frieza, being super angry. I love the way that they did his skin as well. I love the very minimal shading in there, but adds a lot to the figure with the darker parts here. I really, really like the shiny plastic that they chose for the purple. I think that's really, really cool. You can even see like the light reflecting in it here. Of course, his finger is purple because the effect part back there is meant to connect onto the top, of course. I really like this though. I think the color of purple is also a little bit different in the original production image, but that's okay. I still like the color that they ended up going with. Again, too, Varrock usually sculpts his figures a little bit smaller, which kind of makes sense why I can do this, you know, and he still, you know, fits basically in my whole hand. Let's go ahead and put him on the stand, though. Even as a standalone figure, I gotta say, I think it looks fantastic. Like, I probably would have bought this Frieza if it was literally just this, with no beam effect, because if I'm being honest with you, bro, oh, funny enough, Gogeta's also doing the same pose in the background. I didn't even intend for that. Yes, let's both power up the Soul Punisher together. But anyway, no, even if this was just the figure by itself, I think I would have purchased it because the sculpt is perfect, the paint is perfect, the paint application is perfect, it looks great. The only error that I'm seeing on my figure, and this is definitely something with the production, is unfortunately there is a little bit of a hole, and I'm not talking about that, that's obviously for the effect piece. With my hand, it kind of looks like the hand should come out. I don't want to like pull it too hard because it's not supposed to come out, but the wrist right there has a big gap. Whereas the front of it obviously doesn't, which is, thank God that it's the front and not the back. Also, I just noticed with the finger too, it's like clear. I didn't even notice it. I thought it was just painted. That's so funny. So yeah, this on its own is just fantastic. But let's go ahead and actually apply this piece. So thankfully, they included some instructions on the lip of a box. Great way to not waste any paper, by the way. Good on y'all, Bandai. So, as you can see here, this is unfortunately in Japanese, but it looks like that piece number, or P, okay, so what is this? C? Okay, we're going to have to figure this one out, bro. Okay, so we have the runner here, right? It does have the numbers on the runner, as you can see there. The 1, 2, 3, and, well, that's it. Kind of hard to see here, but I will give you a better shot of it in a second. We have A, B. Oh, okay, so I see. This is A, B, B, and C, C. I don't know why they made it so complicated, but it's just these extra pieces that basically connect. I think I will do this off camera just because it is a little bit confusing and it will make the runtime of this video longer. So let me figure it out. One thing I will tell you too real quick while I'm doing this is to be very careful with this piece. I advise you to use something like model kit clippers. It's focusing on Frieza. I advise you to use something... Frieza! I advise you, there we go, to use something like model kit clippers if you have them to clip this piece. Because, of course, you want a clean clip, and you can just twist it and it will work just fine. But, unfortunately, with that, you might not get as clean of a... well, cut, I guess. It's not of a big of a deal for like the part that connects in right here as it is with something like this where it's going to be on the very edge. And just keep in mind what's actually going to be connecting to the figure, because of course like down here you don't want to cut off, well, I guess it would be more like this, right? With this section up here, this is really hard to focus, I'm so sorry. This you probably don't want to cut off because you need that. But this part right here is fine to cut off because that's like just the connected piece. So just be careful what you're cutting here and don't mess it up. I will say another unfortunate thing about these two is that because they are kind of like model kit pieces, you will be getting these small little cuts and stuff right here. This is honestly a lot better than it could be. I know on my original GX Materia Goku, I just kind of ripped them off and it made the edges look a little bit ugly. But as you can see here, right, that's a pretty clean cut because I was using model kit clippers. I will actually leave a link in the description to these, which comes with all of this, which is just a little model kit clip, or model kit clip, well, model kit clippers kit, there we go, that I got off of Amazon for like 10 bucks. It also comes with this giant file, so if you really wanted to, right, and you didn't like the look of these little like white bits on the edges, right, of this stuff. Of course, if it's going to go in a connector, it doesn't really matter. But if you didn't like this, you could take this here and sand it down a little bit. But I'm not going to do that just because I'm not that experienced with these tools and I don't want to accidentally ruin the figure. And it doesn't really bother me that much. So regardless, though, I will leave a little link in the description to this kit. Obviously, it's meant for model kit stuff, but since runners all work the same like this, it works the same. Now, we do have the final piece completed. A word of advice for you on this. I would highly recommend putting this all together like this before you actually attach it to the figure. I tried to attach it to the figure with the ball on there and the base piece, which is this back one right here, but it was just really difficult to do. So honestly, I would just recommend putting it together and then putting it on top of Frieza. These instructions as well are a little confusing. It kind of doesn't help that they're in Japanese either, but you do kind of get a vague hang of it. If you need a little bit of help though, it is not that hard once you look at it like this, and as well, the plugs also all match. This one's a little rectangle plug here. This one actually plugs in like a little square or a little circle, and then the longest one kind of fits to the bottom. Everything fits in here once you actually just start plug-in, and all of the ones that are squares literally just go at the bottom. So let's go ahead and plug it into the big man himself, though. The really cool thing about this, too, is that it actually has holes for all of these things around the figure, so it will actually be suspended in mid-air. I honestly cannot wait to see how this ends up looking. The GX material line is really, really cool, and it's interesting that they decided to sort of add some elements of, I guess you would say, like Gundam elements almost into it, or like model kit building elements. Yeah, see, this is a little bit difficult to do with it all one piece. Let's take that one off for right now. This is probably the only part about this figure that's going to be a little bit tricky. Let me take this off camera. I would highly recommend taking it off the stand as well when you decide to actually attach the ball. It will make it 10 times easier for you, and I do apologize I couldn't do it on camera, but with my current recording setup, there's no way that was going to work on camera. But as you can see, now that it's attached, it's actually super stable on my boy Frieza here. You can literally just move it around. The only part I would tell you to be delicate with is when you're putting it together, for sure. Definitely be careful when you are attaching the death ball to Frieza. But now that the look is complete, I gotta say, wow. This is a really, really, really cool looking figure. I don't think there's any denying that. This guy came out absolutely fantastic, from the pose to the coloring to the shading to the paint job to the actual death ball effect itself. Varroque's Sculptork as well is on here. Full tilt, no cat, bro. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I do really like, ooh, well, be careful there, bro. I do really like the finger being pink, actually, because it kind of adds to the death ball being there. Unfortunately, I do wish it was a little bit more pointed, because unfortunately it almost looks like he's like about to throw it rather than like he's got his finger extended. But nonetheless, this figure looks absolutely fantastic. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this to anybody if you are a fan of Frieza. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Alright, so this one might be a little bit more tricky considering how tall my man Frieza is, but here are our two standard figures. We have the Ichiban Kuji Gotenks as well as the Dokkan Battle Prize Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and I gotta say, wow, Frieza obviously towers over these guys. He's even taller than Gotenks without the Death Ball, but with it attached to him, oh Nelly, he is a big boy to be sure. Of course, it also helps that he's up high on the stand, but you can tell that he is a really small figure, but funny enough, he technically scales bigger than Gotenks. I don't know how that works, but let's go ahead and give you the actual measurement of the man here. To the top, it looks to be just about 10 inches. Interesting. That is cool. It looks like to maybe to Frieza's finger about like 8.5-ish. That's what it looks like about to me. Yeah, definitely just about 10 though to the edge of the Death Ball. That is a pretty decent size, I will say, all things considered, for a figure that is like this small in proportion. Let's go ahead and give you a couple of comparisons. We're going to do 2 lightning rounds before we get to the one that I really want to compare it to. Like I mentioned, this is my first Frieza figure, so here is another Final Form Frieza figure next to this guy. I don't think there's any denying that the GX Materia one absolutely decimates this one. That's why I didn't even want to really put these two in the same ballpark, because they're nowhere close. Like, this figure in every stretch of the imagination, the coloring, the little bit of reflectiveness that they added on Frieza's purple parts, the sculpt, his face. Let's get this piece of garbage out of here, bro. Of course, since we are taking a look at a fantastic Frieza figure, I had to bring out his brother, the Figuarts Zero Final Form Cooler. And these guys look pretty cool together, no pun intended. Look at these brothers both getting ready to absolutely decimate these Saiyans. Oh my gosh, these guys look so good together. I didn't even think about displaying these two right next to each other, but I might have to after seeing this, because oh my gosh, they look so good. Now, obviously, the effects on Cooler are going to be a little bit more premium because, of course, Frieza is a $20 figure compared to Cooler being a, what, $120, $90 figure, something like that. Both are absolutely, I'm literally losing my mind because this is so cool. Both look absolutely fantastic, of course. But of course, this being a more premium figure, it makes sense why the effects are a lot more crazy. But I think both look really good together. And actually, the shading, sculpt work, and even the little bit of shiny purple on both kind of match pretty well, if I do say so myself. It's a little bit more translucent on Cooler for sure, but Frieza is definitely no slouch in his own right, and I think that is just really all thanks to Varroque's sculpt work, really. That's what I have to give the dub to on this figure for sure. Let me put Cooler down and make sure I get some tail support for my man. Before we get the final comparison for today's video, of course, I had to bring the man in, the GX Materia Goku. This was, of course, the first GX Materia figure in the line, and I gotta say, these guys also look awesome next to each other. Of course, this Goku is also based on the Namek saga, at least if the brain is remembering that correctly. I'm pretty sure anyway. They look great though, regardless, and I think it's a testament to the line that even the first figure looks good and the newest figure looks good. It's a fantastic line, of course, sculpted all the way through by your boy. It kind of makes sense. You can also see what I was talking about a little bit too on Goku, where the edges of the different Kamehameha beams have the little white notches. That's from basically just breaking them off of the runners, which I'm glad I actually got a proper model kit. After that figure, I was like, we need to get some proper tools, bro. So these guys look great together. I really hope this line continues, ladies and gentlemen, because it is a absolutely fantastic line, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor and snatch up the GX Materia right now. I will leave some links in the description below. Of course, if you do cop it from the Amazon link, I do get a little bit of an extra cut with no extra cost to you. There we go. I almost messed up my own like little saying thing. Of course, don't buy it though if it's overpriced on Amazon. Obviously, I don't want you paying ridiculous amounts for this figure because, like I said, I got it for 20 bucks at Tokyo Otaku Mode. Thank you guys so much for watching, though. Again, if you would like to support my figure collecting and reviewing endeavors, please, please, please go support me on Patreon. I recently redid my Patreon. There's tons of cool rewards in there. You can kind of see what figure unboxings are going to be coming up soon because I post some various previews whenever I'm doing one on there. So definitely go check that out if you are interested, but please don't feel obligated, of course. Regardless, though, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, let me know what you think of the lighting in here as well, because I think it turned out fantastic, and it's going to be great for recording videos in the nighttime, which is when I would mostly be able to record them anyway. I'll hope now that you guys have such a good day. I'm literally overwhelmed by this figure. I can't speak, bro. Have a good one.